Hey, what is up, class? We are in week 5. That means this is the last week of class. I think our official end date is the 7th, but I think my grades are due on like the 8th. So we will make do and get everything turned in. In a minute, I'll share my screen. We will get this party started right. Sorry if you hear any background noise. I live on a city street. Uh, so in my gold Seek headphones that I usually use, um, I forgot to charge those last night, so they're not working at the moment. And then I have these backup uh uh I what are they called? AirPads. These aren't AirPads. I do have AirPads too. Those are packed away somewhere. These things right here. My computer's not agreeing with them. I don't think it's a problem with the iPods. I think it's more something the iPhones. I think it's more something going on with the computer. This is still a relatively new laptop that I'm using. And I still don't know all the ins and outs of it. So that's just something I'm gonna have to learn. Anyway, I got a lot of different questions on the First Amendment still from a couple weeks ago. Uh, so questions like, well, the courts aren't always right, and the courts get things wrong, and this and that. Um, and that's true. That's very true, actually. Um, we have to understand when we're dealing with the courts. There's two different kind of trials I'm going to talk to you guys about. And this might help you with whatever paper you decide to write for your final. I don't know, but you might find this helpful. There's criminal court and then there's civil court. There's criminal trials and then there's civil trials. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I interned at enough courts and I worked at enough courthouses and have worked around the law. I'm a criminal. My master's degree is in criminal justice. So I know a little bit of something about this, not from a lawyer's perspective, but just from my own personal perspective dealing with the law, dealing with politics and law. So criminal cases are about proving guilt or innocence for a crime. That is what a criminal case is about. Those things are not going to always be easy to prove unless they're just cut and dry. If the person who's being prosecuted, if they admit to committing the crime, that makes it a little bit easier. If the if there's enough like DNA evidence and stuff like that, eyewitness testimony, then the jury, it's a lot of judgment calls and stuff like that. Uh, Civil cases are not about proving guilt or innocence. A civil case is about proving liability or damage. And sometimes civil cases, a lot of times they could just be misunderstandings. Um, your kid threw his baseball on the street and broke my window. As a parent, you owe me money. The parent says, hey, I don't owe you money because your window is too close to something or whatever. And you go to court and you fight over it. And it's just about who owes what in that situation. That person is saying, you owe me money. This other person is saying, I don't owe you money. That's the resolution that we're coming to. So you get that with lawsuits and stuff like that. Everything falls under a burden of proof. For criminal trials, the burden of proof is going to be a little bit different than a civil trials, than a civil trial rather. A civil trial is a lot more cut and dry, because if you're suing somebody and you're saying that they caused damage, then you have to prove that they've caused damage, or what they did was defamation, slander, libus, whatever. Um, and like I talked about last week, if you send out a text message to your girlfriend, even if it's in passing jest, your current girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever, and you guys are fighting, and you say something like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you." Excuse me. Might have to sneeze again. Okay, I don't. All right. And you say something in passing, just like, "I'm gonna kill you." You might not mean anything by it, but if your ex feels threatened by that, she's gonna take that to the police, and the police have to take that seriously, because they've got proof. She has proof that you sent something threatening to her. And we talked about that last week. I used to see that kind of crap all the time when I worked at the courthouse. Just, people sending stupid text messages and not thinking about the stuff that they say, going on Facebook or Instagram or Yelp or whatever, writing these reviews, getting sued, and not thinking about the other person. And sometimes people just have ready-made proof. If you go on Rate My Professors and you get a sensitive professor and you call him, stupid and stuff, and if the professor can prove that you're the one that did it, his proof is that he's not stupid, again, is going to be the degrees he's got hanging on his wall, and the accolades that he's got. So you have to be careful with the names you call people. You can say, "Yo, I didn't like this professor because he did this or that. He I don't think he was a fair grader." That's a judgment call, right? If you say things like, "He's always late," you got to be careful when you speak in absolutes like that, because that could cause trouble. If you call somebody stupid and they got multiple degrees, their proof that they're not stupid are those degrees. When you go in front of a judge, and if you want to sue somebody, you want to sue your employer, because your employer saying, "Hey, you have to get vaccinated if you come here," you have to understand that the First Amendment works both ways. It works in your favor and it works in the favor of your employer. Your employer can, if they make that rule that you have to be vaccinated before you come to work, most of the time, with judges, that's going to be within the realms of that employer's First Amendment right. That right, we have the, they can put mandates on their job and say, "Hey, this is the requirements to work here." It's not that you're going to jail if you don't get vaccinated, right? It's just you cannot work here. The law interprets that usually as find another job, you know? And this is becoming increasingly more difficult as more employers are making vaccines a requirement. For a lot of jobs, vaccines have always been a requirement, but this new vaccine that's come out, there's a lot of kickback though in both ways. And when they go in front of the court they're gonna tell the employer, "Well, this is what the CDC says, this is what the CDC shows the data says, blah, blah, blah." And if you're gonna go to court with, "Oh, I heard from a friend of a friend of a friend that watched Alex Jones on TV, you know, and Alex Jones said that this, and this, that's not going to be sufficient enough proof for a judge, right? That's or a jury either, you know. So these are the kind of forces that we're working for and against, right? You have to understand that, you know, that burden of proof is important. And then when the law comes back, you're not, or the judgment comes back, sometimes you'll like the judgment, sometimes you won't like the judgment. But you got to understand that that's what the judgment is. We don't do what those cats did on January 6th, where, you know, you do something totally illegal, storm the Capitol building because you don't like a judgment. Um, just think about, you know, people that you probably know who are in jail for something that they probably didn't do, you know, like that happens, you know what I'm saying? Um, the system isn't perfect, but it's what we have to go by. So you just have to know when you're suing people, when you're being sued, what's being measured and all that stuff. So I spent enough time talking about it. Started this at about 9:30-ish. It's 9:42 a.m. right now. By the time this posts online, it'll probably be 11. So you'll probably be watching this sometime after 11. So let's do the best we can with that. I am going to share my screen so we can look at what's coming up for this last week of school. Understand what you guys have to do and how I'm gonna go about this last week of class. So look, there's Benjamin Crump right there talking about the burden of proof. So that's something I share in my lectures from his class. I wish I had you guys for the semester so we could I could talk to you about this ad nauseum, because the First Amendment, those lectures really work best when there's a back and forth, because then students understand it better. When I'm just kind of lecturing on my own, it could be a lot more difficult to kind of understand and grasp. But anyway, we do the best we can. So you guys are my internet class. So remember, anytime we log on to Canvas, the first place we go is assignments. So I think I'm already there because that's your home screen. This is what's coming up. You've got your final paper that's due November the 4th, but that's just due November the 4th if you want your paper proofread. If you don't care about getting your paper proofread, you can just turn it in on the 8th, and your grade will be what it's going to be. So if you turn it in by November the 4th, I can say, hey, this paper needs this, this, and this. You forgot to put a header. You forgot to put a title page where your parenthetical references, all that stuff. If you don't turn it in by the 4th, I'm not going to be able to do that because I have other grades due after the 4th. And, you know, I can't, you know, prioritize it the way I could if you turned it in by the 4th. So if you turn in your paper late to me, all well and good. Just understand that you're not going to have time to correct things. If it's one little thing, I might be able to squeeze something in, but I can't promise that. So understand that. Final examination, that's due on November the 8th. So you, again, with the final exam, you get 2 tries to take it. Your first try is probably not going to be, you're probably not going to do the greatest on your first try, but you might. If you've been studying, you probably will. The right answers will not populate on the first try. it'll populate the second try to see what you got right or wrong. So you get 2 tries to take it. If you don't like your grade the first time, you could take it again, and your highest grade is going to be recorded. So this is with that final exam. I put due November the 5th. If you get it done by the 8th, you will have if you get it done by the 8th, that's fine. My grades are due on this. I think they might even be due on the 7th. I can get away with turning things in on the 8th, probably by about noon. So just get that done by then. You got plenty of time. As the date draws nearer, I'll just update you. And then these SLO questions right here, those are due on as it says December the 8th, November the 8th. Okay, and I think I put yeah, that says December the 8th. You got to get this in by November the 7th, because December the class won't even be open for you to finish it, right? So December the 7th. So due November 4th, November 5th, and then November 7th. And then just make sure things are going to start, everything's closing up by November the 8th. And then finally, this assignment right here, that is your last discussion. It is basically just you answering questions about how you like the class, the kind of job that I did, and what you would change about the job. This isn't the same as your anonymous teacher reviews, right? Because you do those and whatever. But these are just kind of for me, so I can say so I can learn what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and I can talk to the dean if 5 weeks doesn't work for you guys. Maybe we should do less 5-week classes, or if everyone's like, oh, I love 5-week courses, maybe we should do more. I'm here to serve you. That's what servant leadership is. Okay, and I believe that might be it as far as that stuff is concerned. So you got these 4 things to do right here. So get that stuff done, and you should be well to go. If your grade is super, super low at the moment, like if you're at like 60%, if you're at like if you're at like 40 to 60%, we have to figure out a way to get you to pass this class with a C. If you're lower than that, I don't know if there's much I can do, but you can talk to me and I can see what we can do to get you to pass. Because the main thing is you need a 65%. That's the C if in this class. If you get 65%, I can feel good about letting you go to the next level. If you don't get 65%, there's not a whole lot I can do for you. All right. So stop my share screen because we don't need it anymore. So that's pretty much it. This has been a good 5 weeks for me. And I might do a video next Monday. I might not. It might not be necessary. Let me see where everyone's at with the assignments. Just don't forget to do anything. This is, again, we're in the home run stretch. If you forget to do any of the exams, or if you forget to do any of the paper or anything like that, it will destroy your grade. If you forget to do the discussion, that's not going to hurt your grade as bad as forgetting the SLO questions, the final exam, the final multiple choice, and the paper. And then remember, the SLO questions, every time you take that exam, the right answers are going to populate. So you could take that thing like 3 times and until you get 100. All right. And there's only 20 questions on those SLO questions. The final exam, you get 2 tries. Then that paper, you could turn that in by the 4th. I could proofread it for you and make sure that you get the grade that you want to get for this class. All right. And that does it for me. Peace out.